Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, everyone, or actually maybe good evening for you, for people who are joining us from Sudan. It's given me a great pleasure to be with you today. Actually, this session has been in planning for quite a long time, and thank you to Mohammed for his patience and also persistence on making this session happen. It's always difficult when people are in different time zones, different organizations to find the right time, but I'm glad we finally found it. And hopefully the session today will be something that is different. I have had the chance to watch some of your sessions before, Mohammed. Greatly enjoyed it. You're doing great work. And today it's going to be something different, but hopefully useful to everyone. So I will first give it to you, Mohammed, to introduce the session, and then I'll talk a little bit about my background, and then we will start the session. Mohammed, can you hear me? Or you are on mute if you are talking.
Okay, just wait.
Now we can hear you, yes. Mohammed, I'm not sure. Are you talking or?
Sorry, I'm muted.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I'm really excited to have a special guest from. He is originally from Sudan, but he is now in Ireland. Welcome, Mr. Yasser. He's Yasser Babiker. He's a senior account director at LinkedIn Talent. So I will give him like a stage to introduce himself and give it us a little information. Our topic today is going to be like as we all we are waiting to get more information about that. Okay, hold me just 1 second. About connect to opportunities on LinkedIn. So really we need more informative information about that. So we got a professional guy here to tell us. So feel free, guys, to ask him a question. You can DM that in the chat, or you can wait until the end of the meeting. So the floor is yours, Mr. Yasser. I really appreciate to have you and accept the invitation.
It's my pleasure, Mohammed. It's always, we are encouraged at LinkedIn to share the expertise and the knowledge and the network about, about LinkedIn, but also more widely about careers and planning your career. Because I'm sure we all share the understanding that, our careers are probably one of the most important things that we can spend time on. And we can definitely, the more we know, the more people we know, the more we know about how to plan our careers, how to do the right thing, definitely will help us to go far and achieve our objectives. So again, it's a real pleasure to be with you. I think I have done several of these sessions before, but this is the first time I do it with a professional, specialized group like SWUG. And as I mentioned in my intro, I've had the chance to watch some of the sessions that you had before, Mohammed. Really well done on the idea of having a SWUG, a Solidworks user group network. It's a global network, but it's really good to see one in Sudan. It's really good to see engineers and design professionals gather and get to know each other and get to help each other achieving their objectives. So it's a pleasure. So a little bit about myself. My name is Yasser. As Mohammed mentioned, I'm originally from Sudan. I have had the pleasure of being able to work and get educated in from different backgrounds. So I started my career in Sudan. Actually, I started my education in Sudan as a mechanical engineer. So I have, I think, something common with you. at least the engineers that we have in the audience. And then I decided to study. I always had this passion for science and physics. So when I had the chance to be in the UK, I decided to switch to physics and study physics at the University of Manchester. And then once I graduated, I wanted to be in technology. So I worked. I have my whole career has been in tech companies, and specifically in the intersection between business and technology. How can companies and international organizations benefit from technology? So from an educational point of view, as I mentioned, since graduating, I have an MBA an MBA basically from University College Dublin, and my career as a basically spanned UK, Ireland, and more recently, I have obviously joined LinkedIn and to work as a senior account director at LinkedIn Middle East. So the purpose of the session today is, I'm sure all of you know about LinkedIn, or at least have a basic idea of what LinkedIn is. Today, especially as the audience, I'm sure you are all, I would consider you more of like an advanced audience. So we'll try and share more about how can you get the best out of LinkedIn. That's essentially the purpose of the session today. How can you get the best out of LinkedIn? Especially, we know a lot of the audience, maybe not all, but a lot of the audience are dialing in from Sudan. We know it's not easy to access opportunities from Sudan. So how can we arm you with the knowledge so that you are in the best position to be able to access opportunities from Sudan? So that's kind of the general theme of the session. More than happy to answer any questions. I have plenty of time at the end of the session. If you have specific questions about LinkedIn and where you are in your journey with LinkedIn, what do you need? What kind of help do you need? I will also be doing a demo, like a quick demo on how you can, basically to show you the other side of the platform. Because as users, me and you, we all have, these profiles on LinkedIn, but also I wanted to show you how companies and recruiters, view member data and how can they search for specific people so that you get the chance to be one of these people when you are targeting a specific opportunity. So I will start sharing my screen. I do have a presentation. The idea, just like I said, to have something that you look at while I'm talking, but please, if anyone has a question, please raise your hand and I'm happy to unmute you so that you can, ask a question or even a comment. I want this to be interactive. So I will start sharing my screen and we will be starting right now. And Mohammed, before I start, is there anything that you want to add?
Yeah, it's cool. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Can you see my screen? Can just somebody give me?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just make this presentation mode. And okay, so yeah, it's this content is part of what we call LinkedIn coaches. You may have noticed in my virtual background. So we run these sessions with different groups, but obviously today we are doing it with SWUG, more of an engineering and design professionals. Hopefully, there is nothing different in the presentation itself, but hopefully more in the Q&A, these things will be highlighted. So as I mentioned, it's all about how can you how to set yourself ready for more opportunities with LinkedIn. That's the whole idea about this, is how can we make you access the best of LinkedIn and position yourself in the best possible position to be able to access opportunities. I always start with an opening thought, and my thought for this session is this quote from Simon Sinek, is one of the best business leaders or business thinkers that I know of. He says, to overcome our challenges, all that is required is the courage to ask for help. To overcome our challenges, all that is required is the courage to ask for help. So, especially I had a quick chat yesterday with Mohammed, and we were talking about whether you are in Sudan or in Malawi or in Alaska, there is something that is really exciting and unique about living in this era. One second, sorry, I'm just going to get back to the presentation. So the idea is now we have these platforms, whether it's SWUG, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's all the social media networks. These can be really powerful tools for us to be able to connect with people, ask for help, ask for expertise, open windows of opportunities. And this is really the best way to use it. And I know people have different thoughts and different stances on when it comes to, for example, social media, but there is no denying that it can really sometimes change your life by accessing, as I mentioned, specific expertise, being able to connect. And I think a perfect example is what we have today with SWUG this is a group that somebody just said, okay, you know what, I'm going to establish this group in Sudan, open the opportunity for people to join, for people to learn about a very specialized skill, which is Solidworks. And at the end of the day, you can connect. I have seen, as I mentioned, some of your sessions, you can connect with people from the US, you can connect with people from Europe, from other parts of the world, and exchange knowledge and exchange ideas. So it's really wonderful that we have this opportunity. We just need to use it. We need to be able to ask for the help that we need, and we will always find people to do it. So I'm going to give you a quick intro about LinkedIn. I think this is already something that we talked about, the purpose and why we are doing this. So I'm going to skip this. I'm just going to spend literally a few minutes just to talk about LinkedIn as a company, so that you understand the philosophy behind the platform, and you understand, sorry, I think I have a mouse here that is fiddling with the presentation. Okay, so you understand the idea behind the platform, and once you understand the idea behind the platform, you will be able to make the most out of it. So LinkedIn's vision is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And we always, aspire to make it, if your vision is something that is not scary, if your vision is something that is not, challenging and demanding, then what's the point? What's the point of having an easy, to achieve vision? So the idea behind, like I said, the vision of LinkedIn is to create an economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. Now, the global workforce, it's estimated to be about 3 billion people. 3 billion people now work in, some of them work in blue collar jobs, some of them work in white collar, some of them work in, for example, knowledge jobs, some of them work in more industrial, etc. So as we progress, the emphasis will be more, as on knowledge, knowledge type jobs, and some of the skills that we rely on today will be redundant, because as humanity advances, there is big focus on more specialized and more high tech skills. So with this vision, I think we're trying to open economic opportunity for everyone. We're trying to make it everyone has an equal and a fair shot at economic opportunities. LinkedIn mission, very simple, is to connect the well professionals to make them more productive and successful. So, and a perfect example is, as I mentioned, is what we are doing today. Mohammed connected with me purely on LinkedIn. I don't know Mohammed in person. We connected on LinkedIn. He asked me, look, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to do a session for my group? I was like, okay, I'm more than happy to do it. So the idea is that we create that connection so that I can be productive and successful, and I can help others be productive and successful. How do I do that? By sharing my knowledge, by sharing my network, by opening my network to others. So the idea is to connect the well professionals to make them more productive and successful. Now, when it comes to, if you ask me the question, what is LinkedIn value proposition to me? Why should I be on LinkedIn? Simply because you can connect to opportunities. And when we talk about opportunity, I want to be very clear. Opportunity means different things to different people. Okay, if you are a job seeker, if you are a fresh graduate and you are a job seeker, you want to have at least a job, something that at least get you in the job ladder, because I know it's very difficult when you are a fresh graduate to become, to have a job. So that's opportunity to you. A job that's related to your field of study will be an opportunity. That's one definition of opportunity. Some other professional, they might have 3, 5, 6 years experience, but they are looking for different job. That's a different kind of opportunity for you. So you may be a job seeker, someone who is in the market to look for a job. That's one opportunity for you. But then you may also be already working, but you are looking for a better job, or looking for something that is more suited to your education background or experience. That's another opportunity. You also may be an entrepreneur who wants to hire people. So hiring people, being able to hire people, being able to give people jobs, that's an opportunity. That's something that, you open opportunities to other people. You may be someone who is trying to find good courses on design, on mechanical engineering, on accounting. And so the definition of opportunity for you is just expertise and training. And so you get the idea. So opportunity does not just stop at job. Opportunity is whatever you are looking for at this stage in your career, that's opportunity. So with LinkedIn, our idea is to connect you with opportunity, and regardless of the definition of opportunity for you. Okay, so how do we do that? All this, good talk that I'm talking, all this vision and mission and value proposition, how do we make it happen at LinkedIn? And I think this is quite important for you. As I mentioned, you may be asking, why am I sharing this with you? Because once you know how does it work, then you are able to better hack the platform, right? Engineering talk. Once you know why something is there, how something works, then you are able to use it in the best possible way. So how do we operationalize the vision and mission and again, the value proposition of LinkedIn is through what you are seeing here today, what we call, some of you may have heard of it, it's the economic graph, LinkedIn economic graph. And essentially, the economic graph is a digital representation of the global economy. The economic graph is a digital representation of the global economy. If you look at the global economy, you have, as I mentioned already, you have the workforce, right? You start with the workforce, with the members, with the people. And at the moment, we have 800 million members on LinkedIn. And this is as a percentage of the knowledge workers. That's actually quite a substantial percentage of the total number of knowledge workers. Okay, so that's one. You start with having real-time talent market data. And I will show you this in the demonstration after this talk, what I mean by that. So if you ask me, for example, how many people know Solidworks in Sudan, I actually have an answer for that. It may not be 100% accurate, but I do have an answer that's backed by data. And I will show you what I mean by that. That's the first tenet of the economic graph. The second is companies, right? So we know that companies, whether they are SMBs or small and medium-sized businesses, whether they are multinationals, these are the what I would call the beacon of opportunities, right? This is how we create opportunities, by having companies that's trying to do inspiring work, they're trying to do great work. Then they have, like LinkedIn now, we have a certain vision and mission. Another really good example that I'm following closely today is SpaceX. What a great vision with SpaceX. Their vision is to make life multiplanetary. How cool is that, So we need these kind of companies that are challenging the status quo, that are trying to go further and do inspiring work. So we have 57 million companies on the platform. And then these companies, as I mentioned, they will need, in order to achieve what they are trying to achieve, they have to create jobs, right? They have to hire people so that they can do what they need to do. So we have 50 million jobs on the platform. And these jobs, as we all know, will require certain skills, competencies, knowledge, education. But let's focus now on skills. And this is something that is now we are focused on at LinkedIn, is to make the emphasis on skills, not on your educational background, not on where you come from, not on what do you look like. No, that doesn't matter. If you can demonstrate that you can do the job through your skills, then you are the best person to get the job. So that's, again, the number of skills that we have on the platform. It's quite staggering, 38,000 different skills. And for you to be able to access these skills, you need to obviously go to either a third level higher education institution, or maybe a specialized education provider, whatever it is. So we have 120,000 different schools in the platform. So the idea, as I mentioned, when you have, by having intelligence and data on the members, on the members work at companies, the companies create jobs, and then the jobs need specific skills, and these skills you can access from specific schools. We will be able to mine all of this data and then be able to share real-time talent market data, as I mentioned. So for recruitment and talent intelligence, that, for some of the companies, they need certain intelligence on what kind of skills that we have, what kind of members that we have. This is something that we provide to companies. Then we will be able to also provide benchmarking, for leaders to gain insight on their organization. Let's say if I'm a CEO of a multinational, I want to know, how do I compare to a competitor in terms of my, for example, digital transformation or digital skills? Then I have that benchmarking from LinkedIn, because I can be able to compare, okay, 20% of my employees know Excel or know Microsoft or know machine learning. If this percentage at your competitor is 40%, then you are behind. You also be able to have, as I mentioned, a learning roadmap, because nowadays, as we will see later on, the skills are constantly changing. There is a stat that says, like, by 2025, almost 20% of the skills would be redundant. So you need to reskill and upskill people. So by sharing that, as I mentioned, the skills that are in demand, the jobs are in demand, you will be able to have what kind of skills do I need to focus on, and that would put the learning roadmap for you as an individual, but also for organizations. So you get the idea, right? Yeah, basically, it's all about, you have 800 million members that have their data about who they are, what kind of skills they have, what kind of jobs they do. And then through having this data, we'll be able to get insights and do all the cool work that we are seeing here. So I'm just going to quickly check if we have any question. Okay, no, I think that was just a comment. I'll keep going. Okay, so now I hope that gives you a good idea about LinkedIn and how it works, and the idea behind the platform. So now for you, why do you need to use LinkedIn? Now to get to the more specific part of the session on how can you use LinkedIn to get to your objective, your career objective, whatever that is. So let's dive into careers. I have actually been reading recently on how do people make these career decisions. Okay, if I ask this question, how do people choose the type of work that they are doing? Why do you do a certain job, not the other? Sometimes you don't have a choice, right? Especially, I think in Sudan, we are very limited in choice. There aren't too many companies, or there aren't too many room for you to be able to see, okay, I want to do this rather than doing this. Sometimes it's just the availability of what's available for you is you go for it. So in terms of careers, it takes a plan for you to be able to achieve what you want, and you need to plan ahead. It's like playing chess. the more you plan ahead for the next move and the next move and the next move, the better the more prepared you are, and the better outcome you will get. I'm not a fan, by the way, of living in the future, so to speak. You got to live in the moment for sure, but you want to make sure that the moment, what you are doing today, will help you get to what you want to get to tomorrow, and then the day after and the day after. So if we look at careers, a lot of people think it's just like what we are seeing on the slide. It's a straight, very straight and clear road for you to go to. And you just have to, okay, I started as an engineer, then I will become a senior engineer, I'll become a project manager, and then I will retire after 25 or 30 years. But in reality, it's not like that. It's more like this. It's more like this, what we are seeing now. It's can be messy, it can be complicated, it can be difficult sometimes, but it's certainly not a straight, clear road for you to go into. It needs, sometimes, as I mentioned, planning. It needs you to maybe sometimes even be more flexible and thoughtful about what you are trying to do. So let's spend some time, and that will be apparent into how is this relevant to LinkedIn, is when you are on the platform, and if you remember what I mentioned about opportunities and about opportunity definition is different for different people. So so there are 4 different career path progressions, right? A lot of people are very familiar with the vertical transition or progression, where, as I mentioned, you start with a junior position, then as you become more senior, you progress in responsibility and rank. And that's basically what we call the vertical. You take more responsibilities and you progress within the same organization. So that's the first one. The second one is more of what we call a lateral career progression, or a lateral career move, where you are taking on different responsibilities in the same, in the same level. So example, so you are, for example, a design engineer, but you want to transition from being a design engineer to become more of a project engineer. You are focusing more on the project side, not just the design side. So they are taking on different responsibilities on the same level. That's more of a lateral career move. The third type is exploratory, which basically you are looking at a totally different industry or a job function or a company. And sometimes some people do that when they have been, for example, in the same career or in the same job for quite a long time, and they just want to go and say, okay, let me explore something else. I want to see, I feel like I have more to offer, or I have something else that I want to look at. So that's more the exploratory move. And the last one is when you actually climb down, you basically go to a less senior position in the hope of you being able to pursue new experiences. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's not just about the vertical side. It's also can be lateral, it can be exploratory, it can be climb down. So there are different ways for you to progress and different ways for you to be able to progress in your career. Now, just looking at okay, one second. I just wanted to do that. Yeah. So the final thing I want to say here is your career is your business. It's time for you to manage it as a CEO. Meaning, a lot of people, and again, this came in the preparation for this session. We were talking about, okay, some people, there is definitely so many barriers and challenges to to doing what you have to do. But if you take charge and say, look, it's my career, I don't need at the end of the day, you have to manage it as your own CEO. You have to say, okay, I need to take action to be able to get to what I want. Of course, people will help you, people will extend a helping hand to you, but at the end of the day, ultimately, it's your responsibility. It's not your boss' responsibility. It's not anyone's else. Okay. So yeah, are you okay? Are you guys, can you hear? I think somebody's saying that he's not able to hear. So just give me, like, maybe put in the chat if you are able to hear me. Okay, so let's now move on to LinkedIn specifically. Okay, and before I talk about how can you get the most out of LinkedIn, I want to share with you some very quick definitions that are useful. Starting with workforce, I think when we talk about the workforce, it's the people who are currently working or available for work in a specific region, right? When I go into a demo afterwards, sometimes when you are looking, as I mentioned, if you are a design engineer, and if you want to look at all design engineers in Sudan or in a different geography, you can search, and then you will be able to see the workforce. You will be able to see people who are in a similar position to you, and you will be able to learn from them what kind of profile they have, how do they have their experience conveyed. All of these things are really helpful. So that's what we mean by workforce. When it comes to connections, I think it's very straightforward. It's basically people who you are connected with on LinkedIn. And we will see that there is a first degree connection, there is a second degree connection, there is a third degree connection. So there are different, but at the end of the day, it's, when we talk about connections, we talk about contacts on LinkedIn you can add, and you can be able to add and send invitations to people. Network, I think, is very clear. What we mean by network is a connected community of people. And this can be on your own network, but it can also be on groups, as we will also see. It can be on a specific LinkedIn Learning course, that all of these are part of your network. And then finally, a referral is when you are a job seeker, when a job seeker is recommended for a career opportunity. That's what we mean by referral. And this is actually quite important, because with a referral, some people think that, as I will show you again, let's say there is a specific job on LinkedIn and I want to get a referral. There are different ways of getting a referral. Sometimes it can be just somebody who works on the same company, that you just happen to find on LinkedIn, and you can ask for a referral, and they might say, okay, I see that you have the right skills. I'm more than happy to refer you. It can be someone that you know in personally. So I'm sure all of you know people who work at company A or company B. That's a really important source for you. So you can, if you find a job and this job suits and match your skills, I highly recommend that you ask for a referral. It's a huge difference between applying blindly and between actually applying through a referral. It's a huge difference. And the big difference comes from, at least with a referral, and a lot of the big companies have that, commitment. You will be guaranteed that your application will be seen. Okay, but if you apply just as thousands other people, you are not guaranteed that your application will be seen. Okay, that's a very important point, that when you apply through a referral, 100% that your application will be seen by the recruitment team. Okay, so I just wanted to share these definitions with you. Now let's look at how can I have an all-star LinkedIn profile? How can I, and this is something that may seem quite simple and quite straightforward, but you would be surprised about so many people actually do not have the right LinkedIn profile. And when I say the right LinkedIn profile, is the best way for you to convey your experience, your skills, your education background, your certifications. So it's not just about, okay, uploading a couple of certifications and maybe writing a few sentences. There is definitely a certain way for you to stand out and become, and represent yourself in the best possible way. And this is what we are trying to do in this session. So let's have a look. First thing I would say, and I already spoke about this in the beginning. It's all about the network, right? Because why is the network so important? Because I see a lot of people on LinkedIn, especially engineers, people from technical backgrounds, they don't really give this the right thought, because a lot of people sometimes they say, oh, you know what, if I just focus on becoming the best engineer or the best, you know, accountant, or and then, you know, have all the certifications done, then that's fine. I'm going to be successful. But in reality, the world unfortunately doesn't work like that. You know, it's all about your network. It's all about, sometimes it's the famous saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And then there is also actually, there is a better version of it. It's not who you know, it's who knows you, right? I really like that now, because through social networks and through LinkedIn specifically, when it comes to professional, you can build a personal brand and a professional brand that make you stand out, that, okay, I know this person is solid in, for example, design, or in mechanical engineer, or in presentations. So you build that brand that people know about you, and then people will approach you and say, oh, this person is the best person in this, and then that's how you access opportunities. So what we are seeing here is, like I said, it's the idea of a network is, you are in the center of this, you know, big circle, or circles actually. You have, you know, 50 million 50 million employers, actually it's 57, this is outdated now, with millions of open job opportunities. And then there is the members, and there is also the groups. It's the ecosystem, and you are right in the middle of that ecosystem. And the more you build your network, the more people know about you, the better outcomes you will get. Now, sharing with you a quick stat, a lot of people may be surprised about this. 9 out of 10 employers use LinkedIn during the hiring process. That's 9 out of 10 employers, whether, as I mentioned, whether it's a multinational or it's a small or medium-sized business. I have been with LinkedIn for close to 3.5 years, and almost every company, I'm not saying every company, but almost every company use LinkedIn in some way or shape or form. Obviously the direct way is when they, I mean, for you specifically, for someone who's a job candidate, is when they reach out to you on LinkedIn through email, the recruiter, and say, okay, we are interested in your profile, and we want to hire you for design engineer role that we have. That's one way. But it could be also that they use LinkedIn to vet you, for example. You know, you have already applied, and maybe you have already applied to them, but then they will check your LinkedIn profile and say, okay, is this guy really, you know, is he what he claims he is, you know, on CV? Because on the CV, everyone can say everything about themselves, right? But LinkedIn is an extra way, or an extra platform for employers to check and to vet people, and to say, you know what, this person really has this qualification, because he's known in the community. People endorse him for these skills. So they are more certain about you than just applying through a CV. Now, I'm going to go very quickly on the basic things, because honestly, I know that a lot of you know this, and so that we open time for Q&A. And I see maybe we have some people already. Let me just quickly check the chat. Okay, I think this was more of a comment. There is no question so far. So I'm going to go through the basics. Some of it, as I mentioned, it may sound very obvious, but it will also be helpful to some of you. So I want to say something about setting up an account. That's the only thing I would say. If you are setting up your account and using LinkedIn primarily on the app, I would highly advise you also doing it through your computer, because it's a different way. It's different altogether. When you are connecting, or when you are setting up your account, especially when you are setting up an account or updating your account, it's always recommended to do it through the computer, not through the app, just because you see more on the computer. Also, it will help you basically see all the different options, you know, see the settings in the best possible way. That's a best way to do it when you are setting up an account, or when you are updating your account, or when you are updating your settings. I recommend you do it through, you can also do it, by the way, through the app, but the options you have sometimes are clearer and better on the desktop. Right, now, this is something that I will spend some time on. You know, what is the difference between a profile and a resume or a CV? You know, our friends in the US use the word resume, you know, more globally, or Europe, they use CV. There is a difference between them, but that's not the point now. We just talk about, okay, what the profile, your LinkedIn profile, how is it different from a resume or a CV? There are 4 fundamental differences. The first one is that your LinkedIn profile speaks to all potential employers, okay? If you are a design engineer or a mechanical engineer or an accountant, on your LinkedIn profile, you convey all your experiences and your skills. You come as, this is as a professional, and your LinkedIn profile have an opportunity for you to talk about you as a professional in general. But in a CV or a resume, you have to. If you're not doing it, then you are not doing it right. In a CV or a resume, you are tailoring your CV or resume to a specific role in mind. Okay? If you are applying for a design engineer, then everything in that CV needs to be about design engineering. It doesn't need to be, we don't need to know about your, you know, something that is irrelevant to the job doesn't have to be on your CV. But in your LinkedIn profile, it's more of a general idea about you as a professional, and it speaks to all potential employers. That's one difference. The second one is it goes into more detail with your skills, projects, interests, certifications. Now, with a resume or CV, the recommendation is two pages, right? Some people say, you know, 4, some people do more. Honestly, now it's always about, okay, being even 1 page. You know, you may have seen some of the famous CVs now, it's only one page, not even 2. And if a CEO can put their CV in 1 page, then you definitely can do it, okay? So with LinkedIn, you have more space to share, as I mentioned, to upload your interests, your certifications. That's a key difference, again, on LinkedIn. The third one is it allows other professionals. You know, when I was talking about personal branding and your reputation and your brand, it allows other professionals and employers to interact, learn, and contact you, right? So it's more of a digital dynamic you than a CV. A CV is just, okay, that's what I know, and that's why you should consider me for this job. But on your LinkedIn profile, I can talk to you, I can ask you, I can see your certifications, I can see people who endorse you, etc., etc. And then the last one, it contains recommendations. How brilliant is that? You know, with a CV, usually you don't put your recommendations, okay? But with LinkedIn, you actually, because I work with you and I know what to expect from you as a professional, I can go and recommend you and say, Muhammad, for example, I worked with him in SWUG network, you know, project. He has been diligent. He has showed professional expertise, etc. So, you know, when I work with someone, I can go and recommend him or her on their profile. So I see somebody have their hand raised. If you want to, okay, I'm happy to unmute you so that you can ask a question if you want.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to ask, do the employers, or how reliable are the endorsements for employers? So if someone endorsed my profile, how reliable it is? So what methods do they do in order to check?
Brilliant. I love your question. Okay. I'm going to provide a quick answer now, and then I'll go back to it later on when I'm demoing the profile. So Yes, that's actually a very important question, because I can go and there are first of all, there is endorsements and there are recommendations. There are two different things completely. Endorsements is separate from recommendation. Endorsement is when I go and endorse someone on a specific skill. So for example, I go and endorse Muhammad on presentation skills and say he has great presentation skills. And the way the platform vet this is by two things. Number one, it looks at, have you actually worked in a team or in the same company? That's one. Number two, which is a more important one, it looks at your own level of this skill. So if you are highly proficient in presentation skills and you go and recommend someone else, then it's more credible than if you are, not really strong in this skill. So this is just one way LinkedIn try to really give credibility to endorsements. At the end of the day, it's still not again, still not 100%, but it's just one way for us to look at people's skills and for, to be able to vet these skills. And I'll talk more about that later on. How do we actually, how do we check that these skills are real? I will talk about this later on. So we're just talking about the difference between a profile and a resume, and hopefully that will help you use LinkedIn in the best possible way. Again, very quickly, number one, LinkedIn speaks to all potential employers. CV or a resume, it's only to one specific job. Number two, it goes into more details with skills, projects, interests, certifications. So you have more space and more opportunity for you to project your skills and certifications. And then number three, it allows other professionals and employers to interact through email, through messaging, if you are direct contact, and so on. And then the last one, it contains recommendations and endorsements. Okay, that's the difference between your LinkedIn. Very quickly, start with the basics. Try to make your LinkedIn profile photo a professional photo. Really, really important. There is always a saying about you only have one chance to make a first impression, right? At the end of the day, if I'm going your LinkedIn profile and this is the first thing I see is your photo, try and make it professional and keep it, you have a smile and have a friendly expression. Make sure your face take up the majority of the frame. That's all I have to say about that, but definitely a lot of people sometimes miss this opportunity and they just don't have the best photo on their LinkedIn profile. Now, going into the basics on setting up your LinkedIn profile, really this is not something that I think is needs a lot of explanation. But just make sure when you update your LinkedIn from as I mentioned before, from a computer, you would be able to see that. You would be able to update your location, work your industry, work internship, volunteering experience, all of these things. You would be able to go through them and update them. Now, coming into the headline, and the headline is what you see just beneath your name. Let's say if I'm searching different profiles, and then under the name, I see this. This is what we call a headline. And essentially what is a headline is an opportunity for you to show what you are and not just what you do. Okay. So again, talking about you as a professional holistically, it can be your interest, it can be the industry you are in, the job that you are trying to target. All of these things can go into your headline. And I invite you to look at your headline and revisit it, because at the end of the day, this is the first thing that people see when they're browsing their profile. Okay, so I think this is now talking about the summary, and this will be the last thing I talk about before I open the Q&A, because we're a little bit short on time. And I think with the Q&A, we will be able to, if any person has any question on a specific field, they can always ask. But I still want to spend some time on the summary, because that's one of the trickier things on your LinkedIn profile. How do you have a great summary? what you see here is on top of the LinkedIn profile, after the basic information, the first thing you see is your summary. And sometimes a lot of people, I certainly, when I'm checking someone's profile, I quickly go to the summary, and then I want to know who this person is. And your summary should be, is like your, what we call your elevator pitch, right? Are you familiar with the concept elevator pitch? Is basically, if you are with someone in an elevator and you only have 2 minutes and you want to tell them who you are, that's what you need to focus on in your summary. So there is a simple recipe for it. It's start with 1 or 2 sentences about who you are. What basically, are you an engineer? Are you an accountant? How many years of experience you have? That can be an opening statement. Like, for example, design engineer with 5 years of experience in mechanical engineering design. That's one way to start your summary. And then 3 or 5 sentences about your experience. What kind of projects did you work in? What kind of skills and passion do you have? And that will be a good way to take the reader into, okay, this is who I am. This is the expertise that I have. And then the last 1 or 2 sentences could be about your future goals. What are you trying to achieve? What are you focused on at the moment? So that can be the third paragraph. And we always recommend to have like 3 paragraphs maximum. You can do more if you want, but obviously if you keep it brief and keep it, succinct, is better than, having a long summary where it's just fluffy and you're talking about everything that you do. Focus on the important things, make it brief, and keep it strong. So 1 or 2 sentences about who you are, 3 and 5 sentences about your experience, your skills, and your passions. And then 1 or 2 sentences about your future goals and how other members can engage with you. What are you trying to tell people, and why are you on LinkedIn? Now, building your professional network. I'm going to skip this just because, like I said, we are short on time and I want to give you opportunity to ask questions. What I would say about this, honestly, you are all very smart people. Like it's just about building a network. It's not enough to be on LinkedIn. It's not enough to have a great profile. You have to make an effort to build your network. Okay. And building your network is starting with your college and university, classmates. That's a good way to start. Starting with your family, for example. Starting with people in the field, people that you already know in a set company, etc. Everyone will have a network to start with, but try to build on that network and grow your connections. Because the stronger network you have, the more benefit and reward you will get from LinkedIn. Okay, the more you will get to hear about job opportunities. You will get to maybe meet people who can refer you, meet people who can open doors for you. And that's, as I mentioned, that's the idea of the network, is make an effort. Of course, it's not something that happens just like that. You need to make a bit of an effort, and it takes some time. Don't, be patient. And as I mentioned, I think the most important thing is if you have a good profile and if you tell people why are you on LinkedIn, you will always meet similar-minded people. You will always meet people who are trying to do the same thing that you are trying to do, and that's how you build a network. I think that's all I want to say about this. And then I'm going to now just maybe give you time to ask questions, but also through the questions, I will do the demo that I tell you about, starting with your LinkedIn profile, but also about the recruiter interface, the other side of the platform, and show you how, for example, people search for Solidworks or design engineering or specific skills, and how do they make sure that the people who are contacting are the right people. So I'm going to stop now and I will look at the chat. And Mohammed, if you have any comments before we proceed, happy to hear them.
That's really cool. Okay, guys, if someone got any question, feel free to ask.
Okay, I have, there is already a question in the chat.
Yeah, from Yasin maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a student and I have to wait till gratitude to use it, or there is, oh, I think he means graduation. Till graduation to use the returning space.
I'm wondering about my audio quality. Can you hear me nice and clear?
Not very clear, but yeah, please go ahead. Maybe we will be able to hear you. Yeah. Hello.
I just have a simple question, but I have a consideration about my audio quality.
Umar, I think we are not able to hear you. If you want to maybe
Yeah.
type in your question, that would be better because
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
you can write it down. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Ahmed Mu'tasim, you already asked, or if you have a question, more than happy to hear it. If you have another question,
Okay.
more
Yes,
than,
I do.
yeah,
But
go ahead.
let other people ask your questions, and when the atmosphere is here, we'll
I
trust
have
mine.
been
Go ahead,
working
guys.
in a different career. I have been working at marketing, at digital marketing. So now I'm quite shifting to mechanical engineering. So I was thinking of keeping two LinkedIn accounts because the algorithm is does not match me up with mechanical engineering um, points. So what do you recommend? Do you recommend having two separate accounts for two separate careers, or having one major account matching all of them up?
Okay, so your question is, you have been working in marketing and now you want to focus on mechanical engineering. Do you have to have two LinkedIn profiles or one? Is that your question, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Honestly, I can see the benefit of having two LinkedIn profiles. However, this will be quite challenging for you to manage because it's already challenging to manage one LinkedIn profile. So let alone having two, right? So how are you going to, at the end of the day, people who know you, in order for you to be credible, what I mean by credible is like, at the end of the day, you are who you are. You are the same person, whether you are in marketing or mechanical engineering. So you are absolutely right. The algorithm at the end of the day will follow one path. But if you have two different LinkedIn profiles, that would make it time consuming for you to work on both. Okay. B, it might also introduce some challenges to you in terms of, okay, at the end of the day, I'm one person with two LinkedIn profile. That can maybe send the wrong message, if you know what I mean. If I'm a recruiter, if I find two LinkedIn profiles with the same person, that would make me a little bit, question why are you doing that? I'm just thinking out loud with you. I'm just trying, because it's not an usual thing for people to have two LinkedIn profile. If you feel strongly about it and you feel like, you know what, I do need to do it, it's okay, do it. But just keep in mind that at the end of the day, you are the same person. You are the same person. And that's, when I talked before about a LinkedIn profile is a more holistic view of you. I think you can still have one LinkedIn profile and talk about your marketing capabilities, marketing experience, but at the same time, your career objective to become to focus more on mechanical engineering. I think that's doable. It's hard, but it's doable. I hope I provided an answer to you. But there is no right or wrong answer here. Like I can't just tell you no, you shouldn't do it. But at the same time, I'm just trying to share with you the challenges of having two different LinkedIn profiles. It's not easy to have two LinkedIn profile. B, it can also be maybe raise some questions about why you are the same person. Why do you have two LinkedIn profiles? That's all I can say to you about that. Okay, so okay, someone is saying that it's prayer time. That's fine. Okay, I will be maybe just doing a quick demo. Just a quick demo, and then we can because just to show you how it looks like from a recruiter point of view, okay? And how do recruiters find people, so that you see the different side of LinkedIn. So I'm just going to log in now and share with you the view from recruiter, because that's something that people don't know as well. You know, we have LinkedIn, there are actually different interfaces of LinkedIn. People may not know that, but you know, there is LinkedIn that is available for everyone. There is LinkedIn Recruiter, which is basically, this is how LinkedIn makes money, essentially. LinkedIn sells LinkedIn Recruiter to companies, not to individuals. So we sell it to companies, and companies use it for recruitment. So use it to be able to search for people, search for, you know, they are hiring for. And we also have job slots. When you see a job, that's basically a paid product. And also we have a number of other products as well. And also for consumers, we have the LinkedIn Premium. You're probably more familiar with LinkedIn Premium. And but let me just share my screen now so that you can see the recruiter interface, and hopefully that will help you get more understanding of the platform. Can you see my screen?
Sure.
Okay, so this is LinkedIn, as I mentioned. This is the LinkedIn interface from the computer, from your desktop. Okay. Now, when you go, how do you access other LinkedIn services? A lot of people don't know that, but you go into the top right corner, you will see this. Basically icon, work, called work. If you click on work, okay, you will be able to see all of these different things. You will be able to see Sales Navigator. That's another paid product that we sell for sales professionals. Advertise, that's more like marketing, you know, similar to, you know, what you see with Facebook ads or Google AdWords, you know, that's like more for marketing. And then there is LinkedIn Learning. Some of you might be familiar with LinkedIn Learning. And then there is also the company page. Let's say you are an entrepreneur and you want to make a company page. You can set up your company page from here. Okay, so all of these are accessible from this side. Now, going into Recruiter, I would go now to Recruiter, and I will show you how it looks like for recruiters and how do they find people. Okay, that's the recruiter interface. Okay, and let's say I want to go and look for, you remember when I talked about Solidworks as a skill, as a specific skill? So let's say I'm trying to hire someone who knows Solidworks in Sudan. And okay, so I would go and look for, start with a project. Okay, create a project. Okay, and I will call it Solidworks Professionals, for example. Okay, I can give it a description. That's not important now. And who are you trying to hire? Okay, so let's say design or mechanical engineering design, mechanical design engineer, specifically mechanical design engineer. Okay, and the location, let's say Sudan. Obviously, this can be anywhere, but let's just say Khartoum, because it gives you the different cities that you want to focus on. Let's say it's Khartoum, just because it will be more people there, obviously, not because of anything else. Seniority, let's say I want somebody, you see, you have different levels. Let's say I keep the level open, and I want to hire for LinkedIn. You know, let's say this is a job that is open for LinkedIn. And I'm going to make this project private, and then I create the project. Okay. Now, how do I search my pipeline, right? So let's say now I created a project and I want to look at the talent pool. Talent pool, if you remember when I was talking about the members, the talent pool will be everyone in Khartoum that fits that profile, that fits mechanical engineer design. Okay, so if I go to talent pool, it will show me people who have this, the platform or the algorithm basically define these people as, as mechanical engineer design, based on what? You may ask me, how is this, what is this based on? It's based on the profile, based on keywords, based on your education, based on your skills, and I will explain how do we assess skills on LinkedIn in a moment. Okay, so that's basically, one second. Now I want to filter, because how many, look, I have only 41, but sometimes this can be thousands of people, right? It can be thousands of people, because this is a very specialized skill. It's only 41. So if I want to filter, I can filter, and I'm going to show you a really cool example. If I want to filter these 41 people, let's say by a specific skill, okay? So I can go and filter by keywords, right? Or by skills and assessments. And here I want to mention something really important while I'm preparing for this session. You can actually search by specific skill, and we have what we call a skills assessment. I don't know if you know, if anyone is familiar or aware about skill assessment, please hit me in the chat and tell me that I want to know how many of you know about skills assessments, because we have skills assessments. They are not just, it's like an exam. It's an exam. It's not just an easy exam. It's an exam that really benchmark you against everyone on LinkedIn for a specific skill. And while I was checking, well, I found out that we actually have a skill assessment for Solidworks, which might be really, it could be easy or difficult depending on how some of you I know have like advanced certifications. So it would be probably easy. But so let's say I want to search for, I want to filter these people by Solidworks. And let's see if some of them actually have that skill. You see, you have Solidworks. There is actually 4 different entries. There is Solidworks flow stimulation, Solidworks API, and then there is Solidworks visualize. Let's just let's keep it generic and say Solidworks, and see out of the 41, how many of them are, you see, now half of these people have gone now. I only have 23 people that actually have Solidworks in their profile. Okay, so one of them is, as you can see, is Mohammed Kamal Ad-Din. For example, he's now engineering development program at CTC Group. And now I always ask people this question: why did Mohammed come up top in the search? Why is it not Ahmed Hassan or Umar, Mohammed, or Abu Bakr? And the answer to this is the tool probably, when looked at all the entries, I put mechanical engineer, mechanical design engineer. I also put Solidworks to filter, and I kept the level generic. So basically in the background, the algorithm will score every profile on these entries. It will score you on mechanical engineer design. It will score you on Solidworks, and then it matches, okay, how proficient this person on these skills. And that's how you get this ranking. I know it's not going to be perfect, but it's at least there is definitely a certain methodology behind it. Okay. And the methodology behind it, if I'm going to go into Mohammed profile now, I don't know Mohammed, by the way, this is just a random example. It basically, as I mentioned, it scores these people on Solidworks. As you can see, when I open his profile, I can see already he actually has Solidworks in his career, in his experience, preparing and documenting of manufacturing technology at research and development program using Solidworks and AutoCAD, right? He actually has Solidworks in his profile, okay? He has engineering in his title. So there is what we call the keyword. And by the way, it's really good to mention this now. There is a keywords scoring, right? When you search for a keyword or a skill, then the algorithm will go and score you on that skill or keyword based on how many times this word or skill is mentioned, based on certifications you have, based on courses you have done, based on endorsements. All of this would be taken into account when assessing your skills on that skill or job. You see, again, Muhammad has mechanical design engineer as a direct title, job title. Okay. Now just going again to skills and assessment certifications. I'm just going to check here. Okay, there is nothing on certifications, but basically because the job experience is here is the most important thing. That's why it's more eminent. It's more important here is like basically because he has a job experience, direct job experience. That's why he's being ranked top. Okay, so I hope that would give you an idea of how things work. So it goes with job experience, definitely number one, and then it looks at certifications, endorsements, and recommendations. That's basically how the algorithm works. Okay. Now I just have a question from Muhammad. Could you please ask my humble profile as a case study? Sure, yeah, I can do that. I have a skill assessment on MS Office words. That's fine. Definitely skill assessments. As I mentioned, I would ask you to take any skill assessment that is relevant. To your the kind of jobs that you're looking for, or the kind of careers that you are interested in. I hope that gives you, like, this was just very quick and kind of crude, but there is more into it, as you can see here. There is filters on, there is custom filters, there is skill assessment, the spotlights. Basically, spotlights is when you say that you are open to work or you are available for work. There is I can also filter by workplace, the kind of companies you worked in. The tool already suggests similar skills or similar tools. So we have Solidworks. It already suggested AutoCAD, product design, and so on. So what does this tell me? It tells me that it's all about having everything that you can have on your profile. Obviously, not everything that's not relevant. No, everything that is real. Try to put, as I mentioned, your certifications, your job experience, and there is a good way to put your job experience. So that's if you have any question on that, I'm happy to answer. But I'm going to go now quickly to use Muhammad profile as a way of maybe like a live assessment of his profile. I'm not going to be easy on him. I know he has a good profile, but still, if there is anything that can be improved, for sure, I will mention. So I'm just going to go now to Muhammad profile and just quickly scan through and see how we can apply what we learned today on his profile. Okay, Muhammad, no offense. This is just for the use. Actually, your profile is already very good, so you don't worry. But I can just quickly provide some feedback. Okay, now looks really good. Look, everything is there. You're using your certifications as a background image. That's fine. One thing I would say on your headline, it's great. It's very extensive. I would refrain from putting things like CSWE. I know that could be like a certification, or it could be try and put things that are known to everyone, because a recruiter may not know what CSW is, or the average user, because at the end of the day, I know you have very specialized skills. It's good, especially in the headline, to keep it general. Don't use abbreviations or specialized language. I would try and keep it engineer, SolidWorks, that's fine because that's skill, but maybe CSW, I don't know what that is, so it just becomes a bit of a waste. So yeah, maybe you don't need to have something that is highly specialized, or acronyms, maybe avoid acronyms, things that are not known to everyone. Now, looking at your summary, I already actually had a look at your summary. Definitely there is a way to make it more succinct. Now, I really like that you have who you are, already the recipe that we mentioned. Who you are, a junior mechanical engineer, you have experience in this. So yes, that's really good, but maybe try and make it more more succinct. You know, I think it's a little bit, I like you have your key specialities.
Okay,
but
one question.
yeah, go ahead.
So hi guys, what's up? What's going on? I hope you all fine. I have 3 questions actually, and I'm going to say them in order, starting from the least priority to the highest. Okay.
Okay, just 1 second. Can you wait until I finish reviewing the profile, please?
Okay, no problem. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's going to take maximum 1 minute. It's not going to take too long, because I just want to finish, because
Yeah,
the benefit
it's
of
fine.
everyone. Okay, yeah.
It's
So yeah, basically on the summary, great. You definitely
cool.
hit all the important points, but maybe, like I said, there is a way to make it more succinct. You know, that's my feedback. Now, I really like that what you are doing there with your feature. You are sharing the things that you are doing. You know, that's one way of building the network. You know, is you share that your activities. Maybe there is my feedback. There is a way maybe to try and, you know, diversify it a little bit. You know, because now you just have it all about your post. Maybe you could keep 1 or 2 on your post, and then leave others for maybe other things that you want to share with your audience. That's again something that you can. Love the fact that you have 6,000 followers. That's amazing. That's really good. You know, you have a huge number of. That's a great. That's when we talk about network. That's what we mean. 6,500 followers. You know, that's really good. I like the fact that you list your experience. You know, you talked about what you did. Again, that's too long in my opinion. There is definitely a way for you to focus more on, because I will tell you why this practically, why this is important. You know, when we just had the example, when we search for mechanical engineer design, you're gonna make it easier for the algorithm to find the things that are important to you, right? The more it's like, you know, you have more things, then it dilutes the profile a little bit for the reader and for the machine. So try and keep it brief. I think there is definitely an opportunity for you here, you know, to keep it brief. I like the fact you are using the digital, and this is something that a lot of people don't do. You know, use the digital format. You know, when you are able to upload your certifications, you are able to upload your videos, presentations. That's really good. That's another way to, you know, double down on your expertise. Okay. Again, that's good. You have same feedback. You can make it briefer. Student affiliate member, you need to have a description of what does that mean. You don't have a description, add a description for sure. Event organizer, I think the rest is really good. Education, sometimes I prefer if you have something on your education, just maybe what kind of degree. Obviously you have the degree, you have maybe something about, especially if you are early, you know, a fresh graduate, because your education will be a huge part of your career. So talk about what you have done in your project. What are you proud of? What are your most important achievements? It's 5 years of your life, especially when you are, you know, when you are a fresh graduate, or maybe you have 1 to 2 years experience. The emphasis is more on your education and your degree. So talk more about, you know, your, as I mentioned, your graduation project, the things that you are proud of. Now with your certifications, I think that's 100% done in the best possible way. I see that you have all your Solidworks certification there. That's brilliant. Maybe add something about your soft skills as well. You know, if you did any training on your soft skills, or presentation or public speaking, that will give you more of a complete profile. But it's not a, you know, it's not a big thing, but add something more about your soft skills. I don't see. Okay, maybe you can also ask for recommendations. You have worked in so many things. I'm just going to look. Maybe you already have it. 1 second. I like the fact that you list all your honors and awards, your projects, your interests. That's really good. Maybe ask people to, oh yeah, you already have recommendation. That's great. Maybe more. I think with someone with your experience, definitely you can have room for more recommendations. You also have, you also have endorsements. So yeah, overall, I think I will give it, honestly, I will give it like 7 out of 10 or maybe 6 out of 10, just because everything is there, but maybe it's just about trying to make it more succinct and focus on the important things for you. I think that's what I would do. Any feedback, anything, any comments from you, Mohammed, if you wanna say now?
Yeah, I'm really appreciate it. It is a good opportunity for me in order to get these tips. I will change it. I will definitely gonna make a new one, and I will send it.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah.
No, it's already, to be honest, it's already, as I mentioned, it's already there. It's just how can you, because I even say this to myself, everyone have an opportunity to, to do better at their profile. And keep in mind, guys, a profile is a dynamic picture of you. So it's not like you are going to make a profile and then 10 years down the line it will be the same profile. You will get back to it as you do more jobs, do more projects, do more certifications, you will update it. So it's a living, breathing space about you. So that's another advantage of LinkedIn, that as you grow and as you do more in your career, you can always go back to your profile and have a look. And again, the really important point here is, as professionals, we sometimes find our way in our careers by trial and error. Sometimes people more around, they do something they like and then they do it again. So your LinkedIn profile can help you in that, because you are in a community and you will be able to see other people profile. What did they do to be able to become where they are? So at this stage, I want to share with you, actually, let's go back to the question, and then I will share with you what the final thing in this session about how to apply for jobs. How can you, basically going into the LinkedIn company pages, and Muhammad shared with you shared with me some companies. I can go and show you how you can unlock some of the insights on the company pages. So the person who had a question before, you can come back and ask your question.
Okay, hi, that's me.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I hope you're all doing fine. I'm Umar. And my 3 questions are, the first one, you talked about your portfolio, like starting from the heading and the main, and absolutely your conclusions. But I just want to ask how hard it is, like, to say every single details about you. Let's say you have an exciting life or a very separated sections in your life, like your own work, like your experience, experiment, like the things you have done. You feel like you have a lot to say, but you want to make it simple and nice, and you want to make it, as you said, a professional portfolio. Like, what do you have? Like, you just need to be a holistic person, but you want to add more details. So, can you copy what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. I understand.
No?
So basically, the question is, how do you get the balance between keeping a holistic or showing a holistic picture of you as a professional,
Can you hear
at
me,
the same
guys?
time focusing on the specific things that you want to achieve, whether it's mechanical engineering or design or accounting, etc. Right? Is that your question? Hello?
Yeah, that's it. You want to add all of your details, all of the things that you have been participate, all the things that you have been part of, and in the same time you want to be a holistic and professional, and you want to, like, your portfolio to be like a professional one.
Okay.
Can you copy?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I will provide a quick answer, just, and then I'll let you ask the rest of the question. So, yeah, I think when we go back to the LinkedIn profile, I'm going to show you now. Let's make this practical, and I will share with you I will go back and share a LinkedIn profile. So there are things that are really important in trying to fine tune the content, and I think this is the things that you need to focus on to be able to show what kind of professional you are. Number one, have a career objective that you need from LinkedIn. Before even looking at your profile, before looking at everything, ask your question, what do I want to do with LinkedIn? And it's no good saying, I want to get a job. That's not good. That's not enough. Saying that I want to get a job, because there are, as I said, there are 50 million different jobs. What kind of job? In what geography? In what level? In what company? The more detailed you are in your objective, the better chance you stand in being able to get that opportunity. And I say this, and it might sound counterintuitive or counter, basically to what I said before, because at the end of the day, it's a very competitive process, right? We already seen there are millions of people, sometimes thousands of people. How do you stand out? So you stand out by being really clear, and also being really, you have what people are asking for, what the employers is asking for. Okay, so the more evidence you have in, I have this skill, I know exactly how to do this job, the better chance you get. So that's why I always start with, okay, what do I want? What job? What level? Where? How? All of this. Try and have a very clear idea of what you want to achieve. And if you get something else, that's fine. That doesn't matter. But this will help you fine tune your profile. That's one. That's the most important thing. The second thing is, there are things that you can be more generic, which is in the summary. For example, you can talk about your experience in general. You can talk about what you have achieved, what you are proud of. But when it comes to your experience, whether it's your education experience or whether it's your job experience, you want to be specific, right? You want to talk about the specific projects you worked in. You want to talk about your achievements. What kind of impact did you drive? Okay. You want to maybe bring in some numbers. Maybe, for example, I have improved the efficiency of the process by 20%. I have increased the number of participants by 60%, etc. So the more numbers, the more succinct you are in conveying your experience, the more convincing you will become. So when you talk about your experience, that's when you really become sharp. And that's when you talk about, okay, this is what I need to say. This is what I need to share, because there are a million things that you can share, but condense it down to what is really important to you and what's really important to your target audience, which is recruiters or the companies that you are trying to work. Does that provide an answer to you?
Okay, that was a appropriate answer. Thank you very much. And moving on.
Yeah.
And the second question is, like, when you're talking about your experience, do you have to include like how you say an evidence? Each one of it, like let's say you have been the manager of some project, like a charity project, like a scientific project, and you made it done. The history, like let's say the event is end, and now you just did it, and everyone knows you did it, but you want to send this experience to the world, but you don't have an evidence. Like, can you include it, or you say that no, or you just say no, they wouldn't believe me what the evidence that I have, what the truth, what the proof that I have. You feel me? Like, I wanna include this fact, but I don't have an evidence that it have been done. But in real life, it is.
Yeah, great question. Great question. Yeah. Yes, not everything that you have done, you will have an evidence. That's fine, as long as you can back it up in an interview. Because when let's say I say that I have established a SWUG network in Ireland, and I live in, at the moment I'm in Dublin, but I live in UAE, in Dubai. Let's say I made that claim in my profile, okay? I can definitely make that claim in my profile, but at the end of the day, I will be asked in an interview, okay, how did you make it? What did you do? Then it will show if you really have that experience or not. So basically, to answer your question, not everything that you have done, you will have something. That's fine, no problem at all. As long as it's genuine, it's real, and you are convinced, write it down, put it down, and just be prepared to talk about it and be prepared to share your experience about it. The worst thing you can do is to say, I have done this, and then you don't know enough about it, or you can't back it up in an interview. Or worst of all, it's not even true. So yes, be credible, say things that you have done, and sometimes the things you may not have evidence. That's okay, no problem at all. But just be prepared to talk about it if you are asked, and that's it. That's you don't need to have a hard evidence of everything. Yeah.
Okay, I have my answer now. And my last question is, I'm sorry I take just too long time. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The last one is like how hard it is to start your professional network, and how hard it is to maintain it for the long period of time. Let's say, okay, now I have prepared my profile. All the things that I have done is included. I have an evidence for it or not. I just put it down. Now, what I do? How can I get the fame? Not the fame of like a celebrity. The fame of work. If you can copy, like how can I start my own?
Yeah. Another great question. I really like your question. Okay, so that's good, and that's maybe the hard part, and I'm glad you asked about this, because yes, you may go spend some time and make your LinkedIn profile, put all your experience, your achievements, but then the real hard work starts, and it's about building your network. And with building a network, you don't actually, it depends on what kind of personality you are. Just be authentic. If you are introverted, you don't have to, be someone else. If you are extroverted and enjoy talking to people, then be who you are. But how you can build a network is, actually, it takes some time. That's okay. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm sure if I ask Mohammed Al-Muktaba now, how did he got to 6,000 followers? It takes time. It's not something that you do overnight. Okay. But one of the best ways to do it, and I'll go back to my profile to show you guys. Number one is by connecting with people that share with you your experience, your values, your interests. And the way to do that is, actually, I will show you now, as we are talking in a SWUG session, there is actually, I was looking again when I was looking at LinkedIn Learning, right? Because LinkedIn Learning is also part of LinkedIn, okay? And I was searching, there is actually a really good courses on Solidworks. If I search for Solidworks, okay, there is actually some really nice learning path on Solidworks, and become a certified CAD designer with Solidworks, right? So this is a good way for you to build your professional identity and your personal brand when you ask your question. So you basically build your profile, and I want to make sure that when I say that I am an expert in Solidworks, I really mean what I say. And I can go and take this learning path, and then when I take this learning path, I can share it with my network and say, I finished this learning path. Number one, to share my achievement or share my certification with my network. Number two, to also give other people opportunity to take this learning path. It's give and take, right? It's how life works. Well, life works by you give something, and then also by giving, people will share with you. That's how it works. So that's a good way to build your brand. Another way to build your brand is writing articles. Let's say you had an opportunity to interview with, a really good company. You can write an article about my experience in interviewing with SpaceX, or my experience of interviewing with Tesla. That's a brilliant way of building your brand. If I go back to, I'll share it later. But anyway, So sharing your expertise, that's a good way of building your brand. Completing assessments, you know, and I would show you how to do that on LinkedIn right now. You know, recommending people, getting people to recommend you. You know, also following people, you know, people news, congratulating people on their achievements. All of these are ways of building a network and building a community. It's all about community on LinkedIn. And that's how you can build your brand and build your network, okay? If I go back to my LinkedIn profile, because I was talking before about skills assessments, right? And skills assessments is a way for companies now to drill down on people that they need for a specific skill. So you see here on my LinkedIn profile, it says, I'll take a skill quiz. And the way to do it is you go in skills. If I go right at the end of my LinkedIn profile, you find skills, right? That's so I'm endorsed mostly for more than three, but these are the top ones. Channel partners, because I worked before in channel partners, business development, because that's what I do, and account management, that's what I do, okay? So if I go and say take a skill quiz, that's where I can take skill assessments. And you can actually, as I mentioned, take again, as we are talking about SolidWorks, you know, you can actually take a skill assessment on SolidWorks. So that's, you see, that's a skill assessment. And there are, you know, if you score in the top 30%, you earn a badge, and you have 15 multiple choice questions, and it's 1.5 minutes per question. And it benchmarks you against everyone else in the world that took this assessment. So it's a really good way of showcasing your skills. And that's just one way. Let's say you are good in machine learning. That's, again, another really important skill right now, machine learning. So you can take the machine learning skill, and you see there is 1 million people in the world that took this assessment. So all of these are ways of building your brand, of, you know, showcasing your expertise with your network. I hope I answered your question. And I wanted to say something really important about this on skills. Okay, if I go back to skills, I know we are way ahead of time, or way basically more, we took more time than we needed, but it's just because we had a lot of questions. So when we go back to skills, yeah, you see there are 50 max, you can only choose 50. You can only choose 50. So be careful, or be thoughtful, not careful, be thoughtful about the kind of skills that you want to put, because you only have 50. And by the way, 50 is not that big, because it's not just about technical skills. Because this is something that I want to remind you guys, you know, in engineering and technical, people focus on technical skills and then they forget completely about soft skills. Soft skills like collaboration, like, for example, communication. These kind of skills, also give it the attention that it needs, because it also helps in building the professional that you are. Let's say we take, again, I'm going to take on Elon, let's say Elon Musk, for example. You know, he has, of course, very strong technical skills, engineering, design, a real visionary, but at the same time, he also have very strong soft skills. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to start 3 different companies and, start basically take them to 1 billion plus revenue. So you get the idea. It's about your technical, but also about your soft skills. So be thoughtful about what kind of skills you want to select, and what kind of skills you want to highlight, depending again on what is your objective in being at LinkedIn, being on LinkedIn. Okay. Right. So I think, yes, maybe I'll give it one more chance if anybody has a question, a comment, maybe some closing statement. There is I think there is a section about companies that Mohammed asked me to share. So for example, so if you are in Sudan, and we know now it's really difficult to access jobs, whether in Sudan or externally. The one advantage you guys have, especially being if you are from a technical background, if you can show that you are really good in a technical skill, you can get sponsored for a visa, right? For example, if you are applying for a job in the US, it's one of the rare rare fields like STEM, you know, science and technology, if you can show that you're really good in machine learning or Solidworks, then there is, of course, it's not easy, but there is a slim chance that you can get sponsored for a visa. Okay, so this is something that I just wanted to say because, you know, engineering is different than other fields. So in engineering, there is a much better chance that you can get sponsored for a visa or sponsored for a work permit. It's not like other, you know, fields where there is plenty of people who are skilled in business or in other fields. But in engineering and computer science, you actually have a much better chance to get a sponsorship or a visa or work permit, whether it's in Europe or US or anywhere that, you know, you are looking for. So I just wanted to say that. And yeah, I mean, basically, if you are looking for a specific company, I'm just going to share again, because that's something that is important that Mohammed asked me, and I promise it will be the last thing because we are going over. So I'm going to go back to, let's say, I'm going to go back to a specific company. Let's say Tesla. Let's say I want to work at Tesla, okay? And I will show you how you can look for jobs, but at the same time, how you can stand the best chance for you to be able to work at Tesla. Okay, so this is Tesla's LinkedIn page, and if you, as you know, there will always, if you go, you will be able to know about the company, know about, you know, financially how this company is doing, get then look at their posts, what, you know, their business news, what they're doing right now, and then if you go to jobs, you will be able to see the jobs that, for example, Tesla now have 4,687 jobs worldwide. That's everywhere in the world. And let's say that, you know, some of these will be highly specialized engineering jobs. Of course, you know, Tesla being an engineering and, you know, company. So let's say I'm just going to search for something that is very specialized and see. Let me just find something here. Anyway, so let's go to product manager, okay? Senior product manager. If I look at senior product manager, usually go and find the requirements, at least the requirements. So for example, this only asking for 2 years of experience in product management. Ask for a bachelor's degree in engineering, okay? A lot of you would have that. Experience having shipped enterprise products, etc. So look for the requirements and make sure every single requirement, at least or most of them, are in your profile, on your LinkedIn profile, or also on your CV when you apply. Okay, that's really important. I see a lot of people applying for jobs and they don't even have the basic requirements. How do you expect to get the job? Okay, so make sure that you have the requirements and on your CV, specifically resume or CV. And definitely a lot of it on your LinkedIn profile. And what I wanted to share with you guys is how can you find someone that give you a referral instead of you applying blindly. You remember when I talked about referrals? You want to see what kind of network do you have in the company. Okay, so I'm just searching now, and I want to find somebody who can refer me. Okay, so there are 63 company alumni, 34 school alumni. So I'm just going to go and look at the company alumni and see if there is any way that I can find someone who can introduce me. Okay, so a lot of the companies, by the way, sometimes I would find someone directly that I know that inside the company. If you don't know someone, try and find someone who knows someone. And that's how if you don't know anybody, I can, for example, go to Noel Williams. This is an executive recruiter, right? That's a recruiter. And I can click on his profile, okay? He's the person that actually recruits for these jobs. And I can send him, because I have premium, I can send him a message. Okay, I'll show you now, say product role, product manager. Role at Tesla, okay? Hi, Noel. I have, just write a very short and sharp message and say, I'm interested in interested in the product manager role that you are hiring for, can you, for example, consider my profile? I know this is something that you can try. He may not even look at this profile, but it's something that you can try doing. And I'm just trying to demonstrate here is when you have someone that you know, that's when your chances actually become much, much better. At the moment, I don't know Noel, this guy, I don't know him. But if I know him or I know somebody that knows him, that becomes my chances for getting the job, or at least for being seen in my application will be much, much better than applying blindly. So I hope I was able to demonstrate to you the importance of a referral and the importance of applying, applying for a role through somebody that you know and building connections. And that's one of the advantages of premium, that you basically get access to through email to everyone on LinkedIn. But even if you don't have premium, you can just click on connect and click on add a note. Don't just send, when you are adding people that you don't know, just tell them why you are adding them. Hello, Noel, I'm interested in building my network in the engineering sector, for example, and just click send. So that's basically, when you are adding people that you don't know, it makes it a much better impression when you just say, add two sentences, 3 sentences, say, why are you connecting and what are you going to, what do you need from these people? That will make a much better impression than just adding people randomly. So I hope that helps you understand how you can apply for jobs on LinkedIn. Okay. If I just go back, this is basically how we were looking at how you can, look at jobs in a certain company. And also, by the way, on LinkedIn, you will be able to see the insights on the company. So this is, again, something that you get from the standard license, but also from the premium. You can see that there is a huge growth on their employees, 27% in last year and 74% growth. And it tells you about what kind of roles are looking for. They're looking for operations, engineering, information technology, sales. These are the sectors that they're hiring for. So I hope that gives you an idea of how you can research a company and how you can apply for a role and how you can connect to people inside the company. How about our free LinkedIn premium? Yeah, there will be a chance for some of you to get premium. Maybe we can agree on a criteria because I want to make it fair for you guys. So let's say, based on the session we have done today, I want you all to go back to your LinkedIn profile, try and reflect the best professional that you can, and try and maybe take some skills assessments, for Solidworks or for other skills that are relevant to you and what you are trying, not anything specific, but what you are trying to achieve. And I will try and select 5 people and give them LinkedIn Premium for free for 1 year. And this is something that's not from me, it's from LinkedIn. I basically accessed a number of premium memberships, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. Okay, I think with that, thank you very much for your time, for your attention. It has been a real pleasure being with you today and sharing with you some of my expertise and some of my knowledge about LinkedIn. You all know my LinkedIn profile. More than happy if you have any question one-on-one, happy to answer. And yeah, any concluding remarks, Mohammed?
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You are presenting like very informative presentation about LinkedIn. I think it's definitely that gonna be like a really game changer for me specifically and the others. And as we are from a student background, so we need that in order to make it a core focus for us guys. So you are like doing a lot of good works at university, for instance, charity activities, and um, um, like as Mr. Yasser mentioned, like have to go focus on soft skills more. So thank you so much again for accepting the invitation. And I think those guys they enjoyed this session, so it's really cool.
It's my pleasure. And as I mentioned, I'm more than happy. If anyone has any lingering questions or anything, please, let me know. I'm happy to maybe come back again in a month time or 2 month time and see the progress that you have made, guys. I think, honestly speaking, I really admire the kind of work that you are trying to do. I know how difficult it is to be able to do, to get this, sessions going. So I'm more than happy to help. I'm more than happy to open my network, and also my colleagues. I have some of them that can help in engineering from an engineering background. So let me know how you are getting on. Please, now the ask from you guys, everyone who attended the session, please go review your LinkedIn profile. Try and make use of the information that we have shared with you. Try and revisit your LinkedIn profile. Try and make it, the best you can make it. And if you have any questions, as I mentioned, please let me know. And I will be maybe let's give you like 10 days or maybe, 10 days. And after the 10 days, we will review. I have the names of the people who attended the session, obviously. We will review, and then I will extend LinkedIn Premium to the people who have, reviewed their LinkedIn profile, because the idea is to give it to people who will be able to use it and make the most of it. It's a great resource. We don't want to waste it. So more than happy to share that with people who do a great job on their profile. And also as a stretch task, if you can also pass some of the skill assessments, especially for Solidworks or any engineering related, that would be great. And also it would be obviously beneficial to you more than anything. And I really look forward to hearing about your success stories, about you doing really well. So please also share with me if you are, if you are able to get any progress in your career, share it back, and all the best. And we'll connect soon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. So
That was a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
you are really inspiring for Sudanese. In order to know someone like you, it's really an honor. That's also encouraging the students. They have to seek their dreams. There's nothing impossible in this world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's the least we can do. And all the best, guys. And I will connect with you soon. Assalamu alaikum.
So,